Cre8. We're here today with John Hughes from the John Hughes Motor Group. Now, John's group employs over 500 people, sells approximately 1,450 new and used cars each and every month. On an annual turnover basis, John turns over $450 million a year. For the last 20 consecutive years, his company has been in the top 3 largest selling Mitsubishi dealers in Australia, and we're number 1 in 2003 and again in 2005. Last year, John outsold the next top selling Hyundai dealer in Australia by over 2 to 1, and has had 7 consecutive years as the world's biggest seller. Now, John is a recognised dynamic public speaker on performance and business strategies. John, welcome to Cre8.
Yeah, thank you, Brett. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining us. So, John, I've heard you talk publicly about your business strategies, and you've mentioned that it's really important to know how to recognise opportunities. And you use the analogy of picking up a baseball bat and knowing when to swing at those opportunities and when not to.
Right.
So how do you decide personally what opportunities come by that you swing at and what opportunities you
want me to tell that story?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. It was a cricket bat, not a baseball bat.
Yep.
Look, I feel that going through life and handling the stresses and pressures and strains of life, and there are plenty and we all face them, is a bit like a game of one-day cricket. You've got a piece of wood in your hand called a bat. Yep. You've got 3 sticks behind you called stumps. You've got 10 people out there wanting to catch you out, and you've got one person at the other end with a little hard red ball that's going to throw at you 6 times. Now, on average, 4 of those 6 balls you let harmlessly past. They won't hurt you if you don't play them. You don't touch it. Yep. You shoulder your bat and let the ball go harmlessly past. Anger, fear, suspicion, jealousy, envy, fear of rejection, lack of confidence, depression, whatever. Don't play them. They'll only hurt you if you touch them. Yep. Put your bat on your shoulder and let it go past to the wicketkeeper. Now, on average, one of those 6 balls is on good length and it's right on the middle stick, and you've got to deal with that. So you pad up, you get behind your bat, and you deal with that, and you go bang, and you kill it dead on the spot. Done, finished, move on. And on average, one of those 6 balls is a loose ball you can score from. It's an opportunity. Right. The trouble is, too many people try to play every ball, and too few people know which balls to let go, which balls to block, and which balls to score from. And I've got to tell you, I shoulder my bat 15, 20 times every day.
So how do you decide? Because obviously in this business you get a lot of opportunities. You get a lot of dealerships coming to you and saying, you've got a great business here, would you like to take us on? How do you decide whether you will or you won't?
Well,
I mean, you've been in the business a long time, so you've obviously got a set of criteria that you use.
Well, the first thing is, and I mean, I stick to the knitting. Now, this may not be for everybody. A lot of people might be smarter and better and brighter than I am, and they might be able to diversify, they may be able to expand. I'm a great believer in the law of diminishing returns. The further you are away from your base, the far less opportunity you get of maximising the opportunity. So I don't look at anything that hasn't got 4 wheels on it.
Yep.
I mean, basically, simplistically, that isn't absolutely correct every time, but I get phone calls from people offering me all sorts of things, and I'll say to them, first thing I'll say to them, it hasn't got 4 wheels on it. And they're taken aback a bit. They say, Mr. Hughes, what do you mean? Has it got 4 wheels on it? Well, no, it hasn't. Well, if it hasn't got 4 wheels, I'm sorry. It may be the greatest thing since sliced bread or whatever. I'm not interested. So I stick to the area of my expertise. So if something goes wrong with whatever venture I get involved in, I've got not only hopefully the time, but I've got the ability to go and fix it. Now, if I get outside my comfort zone, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, everyone when they're looking at opportunities makes mistakes sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm sure you've had plenty of mistakes in your career.
Sure.
But your striking average is obviously pretty good. You've built a very large and successful business here over your lifetime.
Yep.
So your striking rate must be pretty good.
Yeah,
so,
but I've made a lot of mistakes too, don't you? But you learn from your mistakes.
Yes.
And you never, ever, ever make the same mistake twice.
Right.
You know, I mean, everybody makes a mistake, and you're allowed to and should make a mistake, but only only stupid people make the same mistake twice.
So when you look back on the ones that you have picked up the bat and had a go at, and the ones that have really worked out well, was there a gut feel when you first looked at those things?
Yes. And look, advice, if anyone approaches you to be involved in partnership with them or in events that they're involved in, pick the person first.
Yes.
Pick whether it's a partner or a joint venture or whatever, but pick the person before you pick the opportunity.
Yep.
Now, when I look back over the years and the areas and the ventures that I've been involved in that haven't worked, it's because I had the wrong person to start with.
Yes.
And I've realised now that that's fundamental.
I totally agree with you. For the number of people that we've actually interviewed on these sorts of subjects, I think the majority of them would say exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's down to picking the right person,
Yeah.
either from an employee point of view or if you're going to joint venture or partnership with someone. Again, picking the right person. So, over the years, have you developed an ability to pick the right person, or do you think you've always naturally had that ability?
No, I've learnt it, and I've learnt it because of the...
Probably learned it the hard way.
Yes, exactly. I was about to say, I've learned it by the number of mistakes that I've made.
Yes.
And I'm very, very careful now. Look, I would never... Well, I don't need to, but as I mature through life, I don't think I'd ever get involved in partnership with anybody. Yep. I walked into a lawyer's office once a long time ago, and the shelves on 3 walls were groaning with these green covered documents with a brown border. There would have been 20, 30,000 of them. I said, what are they? And he said, every one of those is a dissolved partnership. So look, you know, I mean, some partnerships work, the majority don't.
Yes.
And I'm not a person that wants to, fortunately I don't need to, but certainly I don't want to get involved with somebody else.
Yes.
I make my own decisions.
Yes.
I take my own counsel. And if I make a mistake, I blame myself and nobody else.
Yeah, you can't resolve that mistake yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The trouble with partnerships is generally they fall out because one part thinks that the other one's not doing as much as they should. You know, like I'm doing too much of the work and they're sharing half of the profit or whatever it is. That's not fair. It's like a marriage, unless there's a meeting of the minds, unless everybody feels as though they're getting something out of it with an equal degree, there's no point.
Yeah. So by now you'd probably say that that ability to judge the right people is almost like a gut feel.
Yes.
You look at somebody and pretty quickly you know whether this is the right person to employ for the job or I'm prepared to...
Well, I apply those sort of techniques, if you like, or that technique when I'm interviewing people. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, excellent. So, how is the John Hughes Group different to most other car businesses out there? Because I know you see yourself as being quite different, and I think the public would generally see you as being different too.
Well, the popular conception of a car salesperson is one, I mean, we're down there with, well, I won't mention other categories, but...
Yes, you can certainly mention lawyers, I think.
We're on the bottom, well, you said that, not me, but
yes.
We're on the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to public recognition and so I'm proud of the fact that I could walk down St George's Terrace after 50 odd years in the business and I could look anyone straight in the eye. I don't have to lower my head, I don't have to cross the street. And I sleep soundly at night and I like what I see in the mirror. I mean, I'd like more hair, I'd like a smaller nose, but...
Yes, well, you and me both on that point.
Yeah, so. But, you know, I can live very comfortably with myself and I think that's... I'm proud of the fact that I'm a car dealer, but I'm a businessman who happens to be in business by way of being in cars.
Okay.
Now, it could have been any other commodity, and I hopefully would have been, you know, and I am very successful. That's a fact. I'm not being immodest when I say that. But I think I could have been very successful in merchandising a lot of other commodities. Well, I happen to love cars, and I'm very, very proud of what I do. So I've set the high jump bar very high when it comes to the reputation and the level of the standard, not only of integrity, but of the level of customer service that I give.
Yes.
And I'm very proud about that, and so are my people. And we, you know, I like to think very genuinely that we are better than the others. We are different than the others, and it primarily comes from the person at the top. It just doesn't happen. There has to be somebody there, somebody there making things happen.
So do you think that that determination to focus on customer service came from something you learnt, or do you think that just was bred into you? Do you think that came from your upbringing, from the way that you sort of came into business and you knew, okay, this is my standard. I'm not prepared to lower it no matter what I do.
Yeah, look, it would be wonderfully, it would sound terrific if I said to you, I've always been like this.
Yes.
I wasn't.
Yes.
I've grown into it, and the more I realise, and I got this from my own customers, the feedback, because I survey my people,
Yes.
and I read all of the survey forms that come back. And I realised quite a long time ago, 20, 25 years ago I suppose now, that there was an emergence of consumerism that wasn't there prior. And, people now are better educated, they're more demanding, they're more sophisticated, they've got more choices, there's more competition.